The Springboks have come through with a win, a big win over the Barbarians, 54-7 on the night. And wow, what a way to start the season, the year for the Springboks. Yes, this is only a friendly, but the performances that were put in today is really, really going to go a very long way for Rassie. So I want to break this game down. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Please like and subscribe. As always, it really does help. And yeah, let's look into this game. So first up, South Africa came out strong. Honestly, I was not expecting a scoreline like this. I was expecting it to be a little bit closer. Ultimately, I had the Springboks to come through with a win either way. The quality from top to bottom, I feel South Africa had the advantage in every single section, especially in terms of lineouts and scrums, which kind of did, pan out. Yes, the Barbarians were slightly stronger when it came to the scrums. They were actually a little bit more dominant than what the Springboks were, which was kind of surprising because out of the 9 scrums that the Springboks had, they only won 86%, whereas the Barbarians had 8 scrums and they won 100%. But you got to see the lineouts. This is where a lot of the dominance came in, where the Springboks won 94% of their lineouts, whereas the Barbarians only won 71%. Otherwise, the Springboks pretty much controlled the vast majority of the game. They controlled territory, they controlled possession, they controlled pretty much everything when it comes down to attack. They dominated passes, ball carries, post contact meters, line breaks. They pretty much had it all going forward, as we saw by the scoreline. The Barbarians really, really struggled to break down that South African defense, which is oftentimes a fortress and a very, very difficult thing to break through. Yes, they did manage to get, bits and pieces here and there, but this was a show of quality. Now, yes, a lot of these South African players have also played a lot in the past, and it is something. And the Barbarians they don't have that kind of that they don't have the same relationship between players, which is to be expected. How much how much can you honestly get players understanding each other by only having a couple training sessions with each other? You can't. Whereas a lot of these boys from South Africa, they have been playing every year. They've been training a lot with each other, some of them playing for the same teams. And, there isn't that same connection between a team that is just brought up to a team like the Springboks, who are very well drilled by Rassie. Like I say, Rassie and his squad, his group of staff are making super soldiers, right? They are making the next generation ready for the World Cup. They're making them ready for every single World Cup going forward. Rassie's not only thinking about now, he's thinking about everything leading up. And honestly, this was a very, very good step. This was a very, very good game to, to start off with, right? Obviously, we are going to be having a very, very difficult season, especially with us having to go through New Zealand, which is by no means going to be an easy task, especially at Eden Park. So that is really, really going to be a difficult one to come across. But I do feel that they are going to have enough to get them through. Yes, they might lose here and there. Honestly, if we can go through another season losing only potentially 2 games, I would still be very, very happy with that. But it's going to be a case of how consistent can they be throughout the year. The way things are going, I can see the Springboks being very, very, very consistent through the year. And, you look at a lot of the depth that they have. We saw Siya Kolisi come out injured, and there is a lot more. There's a lot more in weight. So the Springboks are being set up for future greatness. It also comes down to Rassie, how he played it. You look at a lot of the players coming on the 44th, 45th minute, coming in, setting the tone for the second half, really pushing, setting the standard, setting the pace, and the Barbarians could not keep up with them. The Springboks made a sizable gap in the first half, but then just completely dominated. in the second and then kind of let off the gas. But there's a lot of quality here. Like we have Morne van der Berg, who puts in a solid performance. Sasha, as always, is always lovely to see. But then Tituka, another brilliant player. Nhlabakanye, again, one for the future, a big star. Obviously, we do have your monsters like your Oxenche, your Malcolm Marks. We have your Jean Klein. But this is a good step in the right direction. We are going to be seeing a lot of we're going to be seeing a lot of development from a lot of these youth players. But what is lovely to see here is the Springboks staying true to how they play. We saw a lot of dominance, but we also saw a nice amount of flair. I mean, we look at how quickly they move the ball out to the wing. We look at Chesson Colby's try, where I believe it was Fassi, just put that, little punt straight through the little grubber. Boom. Chesson Colby's going to get that ball all day long. He's going to get it, right? But not only that, you look at how they dominated in terms of the maul, in terms of the lineouts. The Barbarians really struggled. Yes, they did have a couple moments of greatness, of brilliance, but rugby isn't about moments of brilliance. Oftentimes, it is that team that is resilient, that will keep annoying you and frustrating you and fighting you at the breakdown. And funny enough, the Barbarians were actually quicker to the rucks than the Springboks were. But you look at what is done with the ball. This is what I always say, what is done with the ball. You can be as quick as you want. You can try and do as much as you want to turn over the ball, but it is what is done with the ball. We saw the Springboks frustrate the Barbarians. We saw them force errors. We saw the Barbarians make a lot of errors. Now, don't get me wrong. The Springboks also made errors, but not in comparison to the Barbarians. You look at where the errors were made, and then you look at what was done with it. Different ballgame. So honestly, I am very happy with this start. I don't think the season could have started better for the Springboks. Big win over the Barbarians in Cape Town, a historic moment. I don't know when's the next time we're going to be seeing this happen again, but this is now just going to hopefully set South Africa up for greatness for the rest of the season, and then hopefully we can get some good performances in a row, get all of our ducks in a row before we go and play New Zealand, which is going to be the biggest test. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what was your favorite try of the game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.